There was a time historically back in history where hardcore Minecraft used to be all about trying to survive for as long as possible without dying. But it's 2024, and at this point that's kinda just some shit. Now it's about seeing who can build the dopest structures and flex the hardest on some hoes. In order to do that, I need good tools and armor. In today's episode, I'm gonna turn my basic ass little village into the beginnings of a superstructure. It's like a regular structure, but it's super duper because it's big, and also I said so. I'm talking farms, animal pens, portals, enchanting buildings. We're gonna do it all. We might even pick up some b****s along the way. Probably not, but hey, you know, we're gonna make everything that I need in order to go from basic iron armor for babies all the way to a god tier diamond pickaxe and full diamond armor. It's gonna be dope as hell. Let's get into it, and please remember to like the video if you enjoy it. The most time consuming part of today's endeavor will without a doubt be building up the local cow population to a level high enough to sustain 15 bookshelves. Doing the math, that's 3 pieces of leather per bookshelf, so 45 leather total, but not all cows are created equal. Sometimes they're feeling spicy and drop nothing. You cow. So I'm gonna need even more than that. For several days, my priority will be breeding cows. While I'm waiting on their cooldown for sex, I'll go collecting other resources. To my pleasant surprise, it was actually quite easy to get the initial cows that I required. I just ran to the other side of the mountain like Goldilocks or whoever that with the porridge was. From there, I very quickly collected a very loyal band of like 30 sheeps and cows or so. I'm not very good at counting, but one of them was pink, so that was pretty cool, I guess. I don't know. I tried to decorate their pens with a little mound of dirt at the beginning, but that kind of looked like so I removed it and instead just put little watering holes in both. Now I have an infinite source of water close to home, and also they get to go swimming. If they want to. I don't know. What do sheep go swimming? However, if I do need to breed a bunch of cows, then of course I'm going to need a whole lot of wheat to breed them with. So naturally, next door to the pen, I created my first wheat farm. I really don't even know if farm is a fair thing to call this. It's pretty small and quite squarular, which, squarular? Whatever. But you know, it gets the job done. So now we have 3 full-fledged structures standing proudly in the sun, much like I do when I'm tanning my voluptuous cheeks at the beach. I thought the best way to connect all the builds was just to continue the natural dirt path that was already running throughout the village. It looks pretty good to me, all things considered, and it's definitely cheap, so Mama's not complaining. In the future, I might go ahead and replace it with something different like stone, but for now it works. I tend to build really symmetrically, but I am trying my hardest to break that pattern since I think it looks better and more natural when it's asymmetrical. Thankfully, I've left some space on either side of the path so that down the line, if I do decide to change it, we'll have some freedom to experiment with. I was, in fact, so absorbed by my dirt pathing work that I stayed up through the night for the first time in this world. A skeleton spawned on the roof, which served as a good reminder that I do need to place torches up there. This should prevent spawning, but even if it doesn't, I'll take the free XP. For the next few days, I was basically indistinguishable from a f***ing groundhog. I was mining the entire time, and let me tell you, it's gonna be a long winter. Again, my priority is just breeding the cows so that I can get level 30 enchantments as soon as possible. Mining is just good to fill the space in between for the time being. Having good enchantments doesn't really do me a shitload of good if I don't have an anvil to combine them with, or diamond things to even put them on in the first place. I did also create 2 different strip mines, one at iron height and one at diamond height, because I'm just an efficient motherfucker. I'm definitely pretty damn tired of going up and down this massive ladder, but I never got around to replacing it. Maybe next video. Lo and behold, much like a wise man coming to gift baby Jesus a bunch of dog shit, a wandering trader showed up on day 24. He had a bunch of dog shit, except for one of his gifts, which I did actually need, a spruce sapling. I definitely could have just ran a few hundred blocks away and found spruce, but I'm afflicted with the curse of laziness, and this thing was like 3 emeralds. Why not? Naturally, I then murdered him in cold blood after our deal was done and stole his llamas. Not sure what I'm gonna do with llamas, but now they're mine. Speaking of, is there some way to breed them? I have no idea, but if you know, and there is a way to breed them, please comment down below. And then I will. Unless it's hard, then I won't, but, you know, one step at a time. Something about that trader inspired me to plant some more trees. I have a vision of the dirt path running freely underneath large, overgrown trees, blocking out the sun overhead. My thinking was if I place a sapling and then put some blocks next to it, the tree will be forced to grow into mega size, as I call it. The hope was that it would automatically look more or less like what I have in mind, but the reality is, it did not. I'm picturing something like a well-groomed garden with leaves overhead, making the path feel very tranquil. But it's looking like I'm gonna have to make some significant future alterations to the trees in order to accomplish that. As I continued my cycle of breeding, planting, and mining, I came across a lucky find deep underground. A gaggle of glow squids kept spawning in some very, very shallow water and suffocating themselves to death. While I'm certainly sympathetic to their cause, I was glad to see a free source of their internal organs. They drop glow sacks, which can be used to turn signs into brighter signs, so that's kind of valuable. I'm not sure if suffocating to death or getting split in half by why an axe is a worse way to go, but thankfully these squids didn't really need to ponder that for very long. I cut them all in half with an axe. So anyways, after about 7 days of repeating that cycle of resource collection, I finally had enough cows to actually reach level 30 enchantments. Giddy with excitement, I prepared my tender little heart to receive fortune. My philosophy for this world is to try and build structures properly the first time, every time I need one. This is different from my usual philosophy of throwing shit into the corner awkwardly. So if I wanted an enchanting area, I'd like to try and build something for that the first time, instead of throwing it awkwardly in the corner. So what that means is my tender little heart will have to wait a little bit longer. Looking around at my existing structures, there wasn't an obvious candidate for where to put the enchanting building. Before I got too caught up worrying about it, however, I happily said, "F it, I'll put it across from the cow pen. Why not?" I love listening to a chorus of moos while I roll for enchantments. My goal with this village is for everything to more or less match the same style. There might be some slight alterations, like between oak and spruce wood depending on the building, but in general I'm shooting for a very natural, open vibe. So think leaves, wood, maximum levels of coziness, and a lot of natural gas. For that reason, the block palette I landed on for the enchanting building is a very tasteful combination of spruce, wool, deep slate, andesite, and oak leaves. I don't really want to put any doors or windows on this building just because of the way that I'm feeling, so instead I'm going to use leaves for windows and a 2-block high void for the door. Now, if you know anything about enchanting tables, you know that they have a huge body odor problem. No, they don't. They're inanimate objects. That was a test. If you believed me, it means 1, you don't know anything about enchanting tables, and it also means you're just a little bit f***ing stupid. What I was actually going to say is that enchanting tables are pretty small, so the building will be the same way. Just enough room to fit the essentials like an anvil and a grindstone. In the end, this is the design that I went with. As you can see, it is quite square and uses a lot of leaves, which I like. Looking at it now, I might go back and give it a bit more of an overgrown vibe with some vines and extra grass, but we'll see. For the roof, I didn't really reinvent the wheel or anything, just some good old spruce stairs in a pyramid fashion. Domes scare me because they involve math on a level that's deeper than counting, which is pretty much where I draw the line. I didn't spend a ton of time worrying about lighting for the time being, since I'm just going to replace the torches with glowstone or something similar in due time. But it was really f***ing dark, so I threw up a few random torches. And that's the enchanting building as it stands now. One more thing off the list. Now I just needed to roll for a good fortune enchantment, and we are well on our way. At one point, I accidentally grew a 2x2 spruce tree that looked down on me disapprovingly from above in the same way I wish a giant goth girl would. My initial reaction was a negative one because big things are frightening, except for tall goth girls. But in the end, it was actually a positive thing. These trees are super easy to cut down, and they give you more wood than, you guessed it, a really tall goth girl. After that, I quickly threw together an anvil, as you do, which I would place in the enchanting building. I find it's just way easier to roll for good enchantments when you have all the tools right there with you. Thankfully, all the mining I was doing earlier while waiting for cowsex gave me plenty of iron to do this. Then I played a little enchantment roulette until I eventually got a fortune 3 roll. I was too poor to actually take the enchantment at the moment, so I decided to come back and pop it once I was level 30 again. That being said, I had already been doing a ton of grinding recently, and frankly, I wanted a bit of a break, meaning I wanted to start working on my first large build in this world. My long-term vision for this village is essentially the world's nicest prison camp. I want my villagers to forget that they're hostages because they're just so safe and comfortable inside my massive black deep slate walls. The ideal prisoner should work 24 hours a day. However, I'm not a monster. I recognize that under the circumstances, working through the night would endanger the lives of my prisoners, and therefore endanger my profits. So I'm gonna make a giant wall around the entire camp and light up the entire interior. This will prevent any monster danger and allow the prisoners to focus even more on their incredibly fulfilling and self-actualizing labor. That's the big vision for the village. But for this episode, it really just means I've started putting up a large wall. It's ugly at the moment, but it won't always be, trust me. There's also an even bigger vision for this world as a whole, but I think I'll hold off on telling you about that for the time being. I have discussed it in some of my live streams, however. That's where I tell all of my secrets. So be sure to follow me on twitch.tv/ImFarley if you want to check that out sometime. After screwing around with the wall for a few days, it was time for me to refocus my efforts on the task at hand. The goal of this episode is to get all the necessary tools and protections so that I can start making some serious builds. I needed a few more XP levels, and for whatever reason, nether quartz is one of the best sources of it in the game. Why is that the case? I have never understood. Reluctantly, it was time to go to the nether. But, considering my philosophy for this world, I couldn't just build some looking portal in the middle of your mother's house. It needed to be its own structure. I ended up putting it across from the wheat farm, close enough to be convenient, but far away enough that the portal sound isn't constantly penetrating my dreams, making me think about hell, and slowly but surely driving me to insanity, and also driving me to the bathroom as it wakes me up for the 4th time in one night. The core design is pretty simple, it's just a bunch of stairs, but as for fleshing it out, I once again went with that natural, open, foresty looking feel that I've been aiming for. 24. One quick trip into the nether later, and I was level 30. Happy to report that only one hoglin tried to eat my ass while I was in there, but I'm quick with it, so he didn't get shot, little bastard. Even better news than that, though, I got super lucky with the enchantment. It popped out as a Fortune 3, Unbreaking 3, Efficiency 4 pickaxe. From there, I was quickly able to combine my other Efficiency 4 pickaxe with it, and I now have a maxed out Fortune pickaxe. It's a very fun time to be alive. Luckily for me, I'm also a bit of a stable genius. While mining earlier, anytime I found diamond, I did not actually collect it. Instead, I marked its location on my GPS for later, and that's how I immediately turned 15 diamonds into about 39. Let me tell you, I've had sex before, and it felt pretty good, but 39 diamonds in 2 minutes? I don't know, man. There's a comparison to be made. Finally, to finish out this video on the biggest secret for surviving hardcore Minecraft, I went ahead and made the secret. It is, in fact, literally just diamond armor. I also threw some little enchantments on it, since why not? It's like 1 level each. I'm gonna roll for god enchantments slowly but surely. Definitely won't be as high priority as the fortune pick was. Next priority for enchantments will probably be looting and then some kind of god roll for a bow. Anyway, I jumped back up onto the mountain near the prison camp and hit up all the coal veins I could find. That took like 5 minutes, and before I knew it, I had 6 stacks of coal. So we're covered there for a while as well. By day 43, this is what the loot chest is looking like. Mighty fine, if I might say so myself. That was supposed to be a cowboy? I don't know. Recap time. Started this video with iron armor, a house, and 0 bitches. We're ending it with diamond armor, another portal, a sick-ass enchanting building, and 0 bitches. I'd say things went pretty well. Next up on the agenda, now that I'm incredibly powerful and can never be defeated, is one of 2 things that I haven't yet decided between. Either I'll go kill the ender dragon and maybe the wither, or I'll start collecting a shitload of materials to continue work on the great prison wall. I think this episode was pretty heavily oriented at progressing through the game, so maybe next one I'll focus more on building or something. I don't know. Which of those 2 types of content do you guys prefer? Let me know down below. I'm still figuring all this out, so I'm down to try new stuff and things. If you're still here, please like the video and subscribe down below. I believe you won't regret it, since evidently you enjoyed this video. Or you're just eating or asleep or something and it just kept playing on its own. Cool. Also join the Discord if you want. Bye bye!